I've not personally had the experience in deep sleep of being aware. So what my mind
You've had the experience of being unaware in deep sleep?
Just blanking out, no awareness.
You had the experience of blanking out?
I mean, I'm just, when I go into deep sleep at night, as far as I know, I've never experienced awareness. I've read where people...
You've experienced the absence of awareness?
Well, in one sense, I guess I have, because there's no awareness.
Don't guess.
This is what I wanted to talk about.
Don't guess.
I don't want to guess. And the question really was exactly what you've pierced very quickly to, is to what extent, for the whole week that we're going to spend together, to what extent when there's a question like that, and in a way ask what you were just doing with the young woman is productive. Is it fruitful to keep pursuing that?
Yes,
chewing
absolutely.
On that, and so please continue.
Keep pursuing it, keep chewing it, keep questioning it, keep thinking about it until you reach absolute satisfaction.
Okay, would you help me by starting just where I just wanted to say this is what...
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right to ask and to chew on it and then not arrive at conclusions too early on, and not to dissuade yourself from thinking or asking questions because of a kind of spiritual platitude, such as, oh, the mind knows nothing of truth, therefore you shouldn't think or ask questions. Or no, allow thinking to take you on this journey. Allow your questioning to take you on a journey until you reach real satisfaction in yourself. So to go now to what you said about being unaware in deep sleep. Tell us about that experience.
Well, I can't, because to me there's no experience in deep sleep. It's just I go to bed and I either am dreaming or I'm sound asleep, in the sense of...
Tell us about the experience of being sound asleep. I mean, you're referring to it, so what are you referring to?
This is exactly, I was saying, do I just take Rupert's word for it, that we're always aware? No, but I have...
You're right.
I've read other people, and they say
right.
In deep sleep, when one has totally awakened, you never lose awareness. And I could take that on faith, but I don't.
I would encourage you very strongly not to take it from me or from anyone else. I would encourage you, and this is the only thing, if I were to encourage you, or to encourage all of us this week, to agree on one thing together, if I would encourage you to do one thing alone this week, it would be simply this: to trust your experience, to rigorously explore and trust your experience.
Okay, well, my experience in deep sleep is I actually have never experienced deep sleep. It just, that I know of. It's just, I go to bed, I experience dreaming, I experience the waking state, and then there's this other that gets spoken of.
Okay.
But I've never, that I'm aware of, had an experience of deep sleep. And that's where I want to clarify this that we ultimately are, that I am ultimately am, how do I know that it experiences itself in deep sleep?
Just ask yourself the question in a slightly different way. Ask yourself the question, have I ever experienced the disappearance of awareness?
Well, in true awareness, as I experience it, when I'm really aware that I am aware, yes, when I get caught in the mind, I
But
experience.
even let's say when you're caught in the mind, when I talk about awareness, I'm talking very simply, not about a kind of extraordinary awareness. Or I'm talking just simply about the knowing with which you know your current experience. This experience of sights and sounds and sensations is known by you. Or let's just say it is known.
It is known.
Yeah, it's known.
I agree.
And now this experience is known. And this experience is known. In fact, all experience is known. Now, what is the knowing with which it is known? What is it that knows experience?
The I.
That's what we call I, the knowing element
Right.
in all experience. Thoughts disappear, sensations disappear, perceptions disappear, but the knowing with which you knew your thoughts 2 minutes ago is present now, knowing this experience.
Right.
The thoughts that you had 2 minutes ago have gone, but the knowing with which they were known remains.
Right.
And the thoughts that you had 2 weeks ago and 2 months ago and 2 decades ago, and whatever experience you had when you were 5 years old, 10 years old, 20 years old, that experience was known. Yes? Now the knowing with which your entire experience is known is this knowing that is present now, knowing this experience. Yeah, that knowing is the stable element, the continuous element. Later on we'll see that it's not actually continuous in time, but for the moment let's say it's the continuous element, and the only continuous element. Yes?
Yeah.
Now, ask yourself, so the reason I say that is to show you that this awareness that is spoken of is something so familiar, it's so intimate and so ordinary. Yes, it's tangible. It's the knowing with which you know everything. Now ask yourself, have you ever experienced a break in the continuity of that knowing? Has it ever been interrupted? Did it ever stop and then start?
Not that I've experienced.
Well, what are you going to trust? Your experience says no, there has never been a break in that knowing. So why not trust that?
I can for dreaming and awaking, but then maybe this is a fiction, this deep sleep thing that I read about. Because I've never had the experience of knowing deep sleep. That's why
you have had the experience of knowing.
Exactly.
Have you ever not had
I
the
haven't.
experience of knowing? No, exactly. Therefore, it is your experience that the knowing of knowing is continuous. If you stay simply with your experience, you admit, yes, there's never been a break in it.
Right.
Then you remember what it says in the books and what everybody else says about this thing called deep sleep.
Right.
So you bring an idea, which most people share, a conventional idea, a common sense idea, to bear on your experience, and it makes you doubt your experience, and to trust the belief, the common sense. Do you know how Einstein defined common sense?
Yeah.
A series of prejudices that most people acquire by the age of 18.
That's good.
Trust your experience.
That's good.
You have never experienced a break in this knowing. Now when I say you have never experienced a break in this knowing, the you that I'm referring to is this knowing. So what I'm really saying is that if you ask the knowing, don't ask thought, but if you ask the knowing with which thought is known, what is your experience of yourself?
Yeah.
If knowing could speak, it would say, in my own experience of myself, I am ever present. I have never known myself to disappear.
To disappear. That's good.
The world disappears. The world leaves me. But I never leave myself. The mind leaves me. Thoughts and feelings leave me. The body leaves me. I've experienced a discontinuity of thought. Every time a thought comes to an end, or a sensation comes to an end, you close your eyes, a perception comes to an end. So the mind, the body, and the world are always coming to an end and then starting again. But the knowing with which they are known, which is what we call I, never comes to an end. Now you can push it a little bit further. Ask yourself, which means ask this knowing, did you ever experience yourself beginning? No. Well, stick to that experience. If you never experienced yourself beginning, don't presume that you begun. Don't presume that you, knowing, were born, because it is not your experience. It is your experience that the body was born, or that the body appears and disappears or dies. It is your experience that the world is born in you, stays around for a while, and then disappears or dies. But it is not your experience. It is not your experience, you knowing, pure knowing, knowing that is not mixed with anything else. It is not your experience that you ever started or appeared or were born. And you have never had the experience of yourself disappearing or dying. And until you have that experience, don't presume it. Stick to your experience. I am eternally present in my own experience of myself. I wasn't born, I don't move or change, and I don't die.
Thank you.